Okay, so I'm going to make a little video here about async and await, and hopefully it will be nice and clear, and sunshine and bunny rabbits will come out and play in your mind, and you will walk away from this video having a new understanding of the universe. Okay, so what is async await? Async slash await. So let's talk about terms. What does the term asynchronous even mean, right? So what it means to me, I'll go get that and return it later, right? Versus synchronous, which is just another way of saying one thing at a time. There's a pretty cool um, video out there on the interwebs that I like to call the waiter example. I'll link to it below. It kind of describes this really nicely. The author of the video uses a waiter, hence why I call it the waiter, as a waiter in a restaurant as an example, right? You can kind of also think of synchronous like you're going through a drive-in, right, to get food. There's a bunch of cars in line, right? And they can only serve one car at a time, right? You're kind of stuck in line, right? Anyway, okay, so that's the difference between those two terms, right? Asynchronous and synchronous. When I first started JavaScript years ago, that kind of threw me off because I was like, hey, what the hell does synchronous, what does asynchronous even mean? Like, what is that? How come they just can't use plain terminology? Which I suppose they are, right? But anyway, enough of that. So the why and the how. How do we use it, right? So let's take a look at this example here that I've got. I've got a function here. I have an asynchronous. I have async. I have the key word async in front of a function called myDisplay, right? Inside of it, I've got a promise. I've got a variable that I'm calling my promise, and I'm assigning to that variable the result of this new promise that's going to resolve uh, this string, right? Resolve and reject. You always see promise with resolve and reject. In this case, I just have resolve. I'm just sending it back a string to keep it simple, right? Here on line 7, we've got document get element by ID demo, enter HTML, and that's being assigned the value of the result of that promise that is then being handed back, right, to the function via await. Okay, so note the keyword async before the function. That makes the function return a promise, right? That indicates that this function is going to return a promise. The keyword await actually makes the function wait for that promise, right? So yeah, let's see. What else did I want to say about this? Okay, right. So like a little prereq for this video is that you should understand a little bit about how inner HTML works, right? Maybe I'll make that a little note over here off screen about inner HTML. Can't see that right now, but I'll put that in. Things you should be familiar with already for the video. But really, all this is here is this is going into the DOM and it's looking for an element with an ID value of demo, and then it's going to replace whatever is inside that div, right? Let's say for example it's a div, and there's a div that has an ID of demo. It's going to replace whatever is inside that div with the result of this this promise that gets fed back to it here, which in this case, in our instance here, is just going to be this string, right? I love you, mom, and you can see that show up in on the page on the website, right? This is pointing to where is demo here, right? So in this case, I've got a span with an ID called demo, and it's just gonna stick that string right in that spot there, right? So yeah, maybe I could show you that in the inspector. So inspect that thingy. Show me the text. Can I show you the text? Yeah, I can show you the text. Can I make that small? Yeah, I can make that small. See? So it takes the span ID demo and it sticks that string right inside of the span there, right? Okay, flip back over to the console and go back to the JavaScript page here. All right, so we call the function right here. Let's make sure that we call that, because when I put this together originally, I kept forgetting to call it. All right, now let's do another example here. We're gonna do two more examples. One using the fetch keyword, and another one using Axios. As you can see me having that here ready to go here. Let's see. So, looking at my show notes here. All right. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So in this example, we'll call an API endpoint using the fetch keyword. Now, what is an API endpoint? Just think of it as a remote website that has a special set of URLs that allow a different external website to get data from it, right? So instead of displaying a web page, when you load this special URL, it will send back data, okay? For the example I'm about to play out for you here, I'm using a resource called Json Placeholder. Let me show you what that is real quick. Paste and go. So yeah, Json Placeholder.typecode.com. Don't worry about it. I'll put the link in the show notes at the bottom too. So this is a free website that's online out there on the interwebs. Free fake API for testing and prototyping, powered by JSON server, blah, 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 blah. Billions of requests a month, right? All their jazz. So what this is they just have these cool endpoints that you can just kind of point to, where you can kind of then prototype stuff, right? So here, let me demonstrate. Okay, so let's see what I'm gonna do. Async function. I'll call it get users and give you a constant called call you my promise. And we'll get the await going, which is now going to fetch our location here. Can I? No, I don't have that in place. So let's see this. Type it out. HTTPS JSON placeholder typecode.com. And I want to get the users endpoint. Oh yeah. I know. I wanted to show you something before I actually ran this here. So the user's endpoint is what I'm hitting, right? So if, like I said before, if you go to the main website page of just ensign.com, you get back displayed what you're used to seeing anywhere on the internet, right? When you go see a web page, right? You see a web page, right? If I hit the endpoint here, this endpoint is configured to just give me back JSON, to just send me back a JSON data stream, right? This is also referred to as an API endpoint, okay? So when you hear terms being thrown around, just kind of understand that when we say endpoint, we're expecting output like this when we hit that location in the URL, right? All right, so let's go here and finish building out our function. So constant data. We're going to, so we've got that promise, but now we've got to convert the response back to JSON, right? All right, so we're going to hit that. Then we're going to say, we're going to use the JSON keyword, JSON function. Oops, sorry. Function to actually run that. Okay, so now we assign that. That should then give us back JSON output, which we can then see. We verify by using console log to tell on the code and tell us what we should see, right? All right. All right, so we'll call this get users. All right, cool. So just check that. Nothing is read. Great, great, great. See, that's written out correctly. Because all that is this. Actually, I really could just show you how to just copy that. That's kind of what I should have did. And then paste. See, right? Anyway, whether I type it out or paste it, it doesn't matter, but you get the idea. All right, cool. That's running. Groovy. All right, so what should happen when we run this? We should see nothing on the page, but we should see data in the console, right? Which it is doing. It has updated our page. Live reload has reloaded our page. Or you could just hit the reload button. And now we see our data being sent out, right? Or I could say, here's another thing that I usually like to do when I do console log. I'll say something like, I'll say the name of the function that I'm in. Get users data, something like that, right? A little space, right? And then, yeah, we'll go back, reload, we'll do its reload. Now we can see get users data. Stuff. Things are coming out. Okay, great, yay. Right, we can see all the things, right? All the objects are being spat back out. All right, cool. Oh, wow, okay, a little bit beyond there. Right. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. Spit that back out this way, and I can go in here and I can drop down that sucker and I can see the stuff in the thing, right? I can see the actual data. I can see the stuff sitting inside the objects, right? Individually, I can navigate it this way. I just thought of this, but also if you're here, if you go over to the network tab, right, and I hit reload, whee, I can see all the things here as well, right? Oh look, there's async wait, async wait JS, yay, 200, all right, yay. Click on that, and then we can see. Let me make this bigger. Then we can see the responses. Oh, look at that. Oh, the response thing, great, yay. Let's see, headers and response. You see all the stuff. Response payload, what else do I want to? What else can I point out here that while I'm looking at this sucker? Let's see, close that, reload you. Yeah, okay. Fetch. Okay, there we go. There's our fetch. Yay. We see all the stuff here as well, right? Okay, so either here, yay, all the things, right? Or over the network tab. All right, make you small again. Yeah, cool. Okay, so what else can I say about? Oh, yeah. Fetch. Okay, so where does fetch come from? Is fetch part of JavaScript? Is like like in the JavaScript specification, right? If you think of a book, if you think of a book that had all of the details of the JavaScript language in it, like JavaScript pure by itself in it, would fetch appear in it? Um, Actually, no. Fetch is part of the web API, which lives at this other place. So let me show you. Let me show you what that is. Copy that. Let's bring that over here real quick. Since we got this new term called fetch. What is fetch? Where did fetch come from? So, web APIs. Oh yeah, and then another thing that used to drive me crazy when I first started learning all this stuff, the way sometimes terms kind of clash into each other, right? Remember, we were just talking about an API endpoint, right? So that concept. And an API endpoint is just being a URL at a remote website someplace that allows you to get data from it, right? But then there's this other API, right? This other term called API, which talks about language, right? In a programming API, which is just describing what you can do with a particular function that you've discovered some way that you can use a particular tool online, right? Okay, so the Fetch API provides an interface for fetching resources, including across the network. It will seem familiar to anyone who has used XML HTTP request, but the new API provides a more powerful and flexible feature set, right? Blah, 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 blah. Fetch provides a generic definition of request and response objects and all this other crap. I'm not going to read all this out. You can read it yourself, right? It's just who wants to hear me read something that's already there. What's the key thing that I wanted to point out to you here? Oh, yeah. Where this comes from. So this is so Fetch is part of the web APIs. Let me make this bigger. See web APIs, web technology for developers, right? If we click on, and I'm at the MDN, the Mozilla Developer Network page. This is kind of like one of the main sources for just pure documentation on a specific piece of technology, okay? If I hit web APIs, when writing code for the web, there are a large number of web APIs available, right? Below is a list of all the APIs and interfaces, object types, like what the hell does that mean? Maybe I'll break this out to another video and kind of break all this stuff down, right? Blah, 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 that you may be able to use while developing your web app or site. Web APIs are typically, okay, here's the key point. Web APIs are typically used with JavaScript, although this doesn't always have to be the case, right? So this is external to JavaScript, but JavaScript can talk to these things. That's the key thing, right? Other languages can talk to these things as well. See, here's the fetch API sitting inside of here, right? HTML DOM is down here, right? XML HTTP request is here, right? Other things that, the DOM, right? That's here. Where's CSS? Yes, CSS. CSS painting API, all the CSS related stuff. The Canvas API, right? So there's all these application programming interfaces, right, that exist, that are part of the browser, right? Like where does this live? Does it live in the JavaScript library? No. JavaScript can talk to it? Yes, right? Other languages can talk to it? Yes. So where does this live? I think this lives in the browser, right? That's where I think this lives, right? Web technology for developers. The open web presents incredible opportunities for developers. To take full advantage of these technologies, you need to know how to use them. Before you'll find links to our web technology documentation, right? Web APIs, HTML, CSS, reference between web technology, reference material for blah, 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 APIs that comprise the web's powerful scriptability, including the DOM and all the related APIs. So yeah, so I'll break out a different video that explains like APIs versus APIs versus APIs, right? All right, but not to get too far off topic. Key thought process takeaway. if you see a term that you don't understand while you're walking down this road of understanding JavaScript, right? Google it up and then try to understand where's the source, where's the primary source documentation for that particular thing, right? Like in the context here, we're studying JavaScript, and then we're talking about async and await, right? So the brain may be thinking, is fetch part of async await? Do I look for that as a subcategory to async and await? Do I look up fetch as a subcategory to JavaScript as part of the JavaScript language? What's the next level of context that I'm using this is? Well, I'm kind of doing this on a web page. There's some kind of, web related technology. Can I put in Google web space technology space fetch, and then will it give me, what kind of output would it give me? Things that can help you dig into where is the primary source of understanding here, right? Most developers nowadays, or at least for the past 10 years or so, whatever, or more than that, have been kind of like using MDN for for a lot of reference, right? There's tons of other places to get like the source reference information about a particular thing, but I'll dig into that in a separate video. Anyway, enough of being off topic. Let's get on to, let's see, what is the third example, right? Okay, so third example. We'll do the same thing that we did before up here with get user, but we're going to do it with something called Axios. Okay, so first let me get this going. Async function get users. I want to say get users again, or get users Axios. So get users again. Yeah, I'll say get users again because we want to give it the same name. Constant. We'll give you a constant. And we'll say. Actually, wait. Let's do it. Yeah, because I wanted to kind of get. Oh yeah, hit that little tab and it gave me the error function. I want to do it with let this time. So let my promise equal. Well, okay, wait. Hang on. Why am I typing this in the hard way? We've invented copy paste for a reason. Paste. Okay, so we're just gonna paste the guts in there, right? What's the other thing that I want to do? I want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of that space. I want to change that from this to this to let, and then I want to it says fetch. Wait. Oh yeah. Right. I want to get rid of that. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. I remember why I wanted to do this. Why did we do that? Because we wanted to do Axios.get. And Axios.get allows me to get rid of this bit. Ta-da! And now I can go down here and I can, instead of that, I can say, okay, return my promise instead, right? Okay, great, groovy. Let's get rid of that extra space. Now I've got a small, ooh, I hit the wrong button there, sorry. Smaller, go ahead. There we go, okay. Get a smaller thingy, and let's now call it get user again, cool. Let's see. Oh, wait. I need to let me know who I'm calling when I see the output in the console. So you are get users again. We'll make that a little bit bigger like that. Get users again. Space there just so it kind of sticks out better. All right, cool. Um, yeah. All right. I'm just wondering if I wanted to comment this out or comment the other stuff out so I'd only just see this particular output. Let's just run this first as it is and see how we get. What am I expecting? I'm expecting to get two. I'm expecting to get two responses here. Yeah, yep. Get uses again, object, and then the original one up here we had was just. Let me do this so you can see the difference a little more plainly. Let's see here, get user, right? Yeah, cool. And let's do the spacing because that just looks cool. And yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Semicolon just because it makes it stand out better. Get users, bunch of stuff. Get users again, bunch of stuff. Okay, cool. Send URL, groovy. Yep. Okay, cool. Curious. What if I did this? What if I? Oh, wait. So, Axios. Let me explain. I'm throwing in another term here, right? What is the point of this? Make that smaller so we can see both of those in here like that. That kind of looks cooler. So, Axios. So, what is Axios and why am I using Axios instead of fetch? Axios, let's go look that up. What's the context that we're doing stuff in? We're doing JavaScript. What's the term we're looking for? Axios. Okay. Getting started. So, promise-based HTTP client for the browser in Node.js. What is Axios? Axios is a promise-based HTTP library. Right? They say HTTP client. Terminology gets confusing. I'm just going to say library for now. Again, because these videos that I'm building out are targeting beginning developers. So I'm trying to make the concepts, the key thing that we're trying to get across here are understanding concepts, understanding what's going on, right? So think of Axios as this library that you can use, that you can install in your applications or in your individual web page, that now gives you a little bit of a cleaner way of doing what fetch does, and that's all it does. That's all Axios is. Like if you use fetch in a large application, you can do that, or you could use Axios, which just makes the syntax a little bit cleaner and allows you to write a little bit less code. Right. That's the primary takeaway. Right. Here is the URL for this. I'll put that in the show notes as well. But that's basically all that really is, right? Fetch. Let me write that over here in the show notes also. Axios, and copy that. All right, cool. So when I'm done with this video, I'll make sure that I put that in the show notes as well. Cool. All right, solid. So that's there too. So what's one more other thing that I wanted to show you? Oh yeah. I wanted to change this too because it really, like, does that matter? Does it have to be a const? Can it be a let? Right? Is there some particular reason why it can't be one or the other? Is the program going to stop working? Either way, right? The test going to fail or whatever, right? Let me reload that. No, right? Okay, so just for the sake of keeping things clean and consistent, we'll just use let, right? And what's one other thing? Note that I'm calling my variable here my promise because I want to get across to you the understanding that this is fetching right? Whatever's on the other side of this is going to be a promise. Whatever should be on the other side, that should be a promise, right? However you program it, whatever that should be, it should be a promise. That's right. So that when you return the data that you return, your function is going to be returning a promise, right? That's what I'm calling it, a promise, so that you understand that this thing over here is in fact a promise, just like this thing up here was in fact a promise. Follow? Okay. So just like this thing here is a promise. Okay. All right. Now, what you are most likely to see in the wild is you're most likely to see this written. Well, I don't know how to do it this way. Well, actually, let me do it this way. You're most likely to see this written this way. Let me copy this real quick and put this down here, and I'll paste. Okay. So you're most likely to see this like this, written this way. RES, right? Short for response, right? Or you might see this written like this, right? Okay. Okay. Response, right? Let me delete that version. Right. Okay. And rerun this over here, and hold on, I have a typo that I don't see just yet. But we should see the same output down here, right? Script. Script with source. Axios, distributions, min.js. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. That was nothing. Just had to reload the dang thing properly. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, there we go. So yep, got the same thing. We just changed the name of that particular variable, and there we all are, right? Okay, so that's it for the lesson itself, right? That's it for this particular video about async and await. And oh yeah. Wait. One last takeaway, right? One last takeaway is why? Right? Why do we use async and await? Async, writing your functions with async await, right, makes writing promises much easier. It cleans up your code a lot better. There's no more need for all the thens, right, that you get if you did it the old promise way, right? I don't have that in this video. I'm going to have that in a separate, different video, right? And I think I'll also make one where you're converting a old school promise then function to an async await, right? And actually convert it, and you kind of see the difference there, right? All right, so that's it for this video. I hope this helped bring you bunny rabbits and joy and rainbows and Skittles flying out of the sky, or whatever your flavor of candy or whatever, happiness. And yeah, until I see you again on the interwebs, take care.